Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from Mousesteps.com.
And this is episode number 196.
196.
Of Mousesteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouseband Travel. They specialize in all the Disney destinations, including we're talking about Disney California Adventure this week. And they will check for discounts, whether at the time of booking or after you've booked, and they're still looking for you.
That's right. I would recommend subscribing to their newsletter. Always good deals to be found there.
Absolutely. You can check their website out online.
Also, Maple Leaf Tickets, our official ticket agency. The best deals on tickets in town. Check them out. This week, part 2 of our California coverage, starting at Storytellers Cafe for a character brunch.
Well, this is a Chippendale. It's actually the character breakfast, but at the time we arrived, you had breakfast and lunch food, so it really was more of a brunch, and it was going till 1:55 p.m. It wasn't just in the normal breakfast hours during the weekend.
Right, the weekend's kind of a brunch, although it's the same price as the character breakfast.
Right, and it was about $30. I don't know in the early morning if it's all breakfast foods and then they swap over to some lunch.
Well, how can you resist? Look at the welcome that you're getting to the establishment here by Kenai from Brother Bear.
I thought they were a lot of fun. This was a very good character. Again, we thought
maybe
second best
the second best ever. It was tremendous, and part of that was because there weren't a lot of other guests there. But the only other character meal I think that compares is Inventions at the Disneyland Hotel at Disneyland Paris.
Now it was more expensive, but they also
Yes.
had like 10 characters, so
Yes,
that was the best.
And that
we've ever
changes
had.
all the time too.
Yes.
But look at this. Here we go. We are the namesake characters of the meal here. Chip and Dale themselves are showing us some of the food selections.
Well, this is called the Chippendale Critter Breakfast, and usually they will be here. I've read occasionally they have not been, but they're supposed to be here because their name is. I don't know.
Be there if it's their breakfast.
But we also had Pluto and obviously Kenai, and but that doesn't mean you will get all of them all the time.
Right.
You could get Miko or Turk
Coda. I've heard Coda has
or
appeared
Coda,
in the
right?
past.
So
Any
there'll be
critter.
a little bit of a surprise maybe upon arrival, but this was one of our favorites.
And it looks like Chip was a bit unsure of the milk. Maybe chipmunks do not drink milk on a regular basis.
I have no idea.
But it was really fun to be walking there with Chip and getting his recommendations for the buffet.
Well, menu items include omelets cooked to order, caramel French toast, which I didn't try, Mickey waffles, fruit, and then there was like a million things on it.
So here is the buffet right now that we were just talking about.
And there are pastries, all kinds of muffins and danishes, and what are those? I don't know what those are called because I never eat them. Croissants, I think.
That's French toast there. Mickey waffles, of course.
And pancakes. I mean, there's so much here. I think that's Eggs Benedict.
Indeed they are, and they were very good.
And we're looking kind of at the lunch offerings on the other side, and we'll see those more up close. But I recommend, especially on weekends, because I believe it only on maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday and Sunday, they go till 1:55 p.m. I recommend doing it as a brunch.
Absolutely.
Because it's not cheap. It's $30.
Well, here's what we just talked about. You just mentioned anyway, the brunch offerings there. The rice, there is some chicken, baked chicken, and there's the kids' offerings there, chicken nuggets and mac and cheese.
And I believe that was a tomato bisque I had. The animals, the characters kept coming around wanting my soup. So
Kenai especially wanted that soup.
So I ended up eating it a little bit more tepid, but it was really hot when I took it. But I just want to mention also, I'm not sure if all these items are also during the week. I don't know how they work it when the buffet might close at 11 a.m. for breakfast.
Yeah, I understand that the lunchtime offerings are only there on the weekend.
Okay.
So it'll just be a breakfast buffet. Now we're taking a look at my plate here, and it's funny. By the time we got back to our table, we didn't really get to eat because the characters were so great, There he is Kenai right now, and I don't know what he thinks he's going to do with your soup with that claw of his, but he clearly wanted some. I think these characters don't get fed enough. They all seem very hungry at all times. See, he's even wanting some of our food there.
I think he just likes to pretend he didn't get fed because then he didn't want anything. So.
I don't know. We'll see. I think Pluto had the same problem. But, and speaking of Pluto, here he is now.
And Pluto went for my soup as well. So
Did he go for your soup?
Well, he's going to sit right next to my soup. Yes, they all want my soup.
Where were you? I think you were taking pictures
somewhere. I have no idea where I was.
Yeah, you were flown the coop, I believe.
Well, I had to take photos with my iPhone, because my lens broke at Disneyland.
I know, that was very sad, very sad. But what I loved is I was sitting there, and almost every character came and sat in that seat. At one point, I was talking well, I was kind of having a two-way conversation with them about Kylo Ren, and I will link to that. The characters have a interesting opinion of Kylo Ren. They happened to see my Disneyland guide map, and they were all kind of afraid of it. So you'll have to
I
take
think
a
they
look
were
at that
just
video.
pretending. But there is Chip and Dale. It was like every time I got up to walk around, or we got up to walk around, the characters were doing something different. And of course, it's not always going to be like this. You know, if you have a busier restaurant, they're not going to be sitting here pretending to, I don't know what he's pretending to do.
I mean, at one point, we were the only people in this whole wing of the restaurant with all the characters at our disposal. I think we even had a picture with every character together.
Yeah.
So
But that's
that will not
something-
happen every time.
I just want to say we do recommend Chip and Dale's Critter Breakfast. This is over at Disney's Grand Californian. And definitely make a reservation. That way you know what time you're locked into.
So now we're going to continue at Disney California Adventure. We started off our day, of course, at Radiator Springs Racers at Cars Land.
And for the first hour, there was really no line for single rider, so it was nice to just be able to go on again, again and again.
I think we had 3 rides in, which was tremendous.
It was awesome.
And of course, while in Cars Land, you must always go on Mater's Junkyard Jamboree.
And it doesn't look like it would be fun, but it's really just kind of a really great attraction.
It is so much fun. And probably a precursor to the Toy Story Land attraction that will be at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Alien swirling saucers. At least that was
what
the
it's
name
called?
of it. I believe that's what the name is supposed to be, but you never know what's going to happen.
The concept art looked almost exactly like this, but covered, of course, because we are in Florida there.
But also without all the little Mater characters.
Yeah, we'll miss that. Also, Luigi's Rollickin Roadsters, new to us, had opened since we were in California last at Disneyland.
And the last time we were in California was actually last November, and this opened earlier this year. It used to be Luigi's Flying Tires. A lot of it is similar as far as the queue and, until you actually get to the ride.
I think you're right. I think the queue is basically the same, although we were shown something I'd never seen before, this little John Lasseter, an actual John Lasseter signed little tribute there that was in the queue.
I don't know when that, I don't know if that was there before
It was
or not.
probably there before, but we had never found it because, usually we would just walk right by.
Right. And this is where really the change begins. There was a topiary here, I'm sure, before. I believe it's the same one, and I think that's Francisco Bernoulli. I don't even know if that's how you say it or
from
not.
Cars 2.
Yes. So he is there, and I believe he was there before as well. Now, Luigi's Rollickin Roadsters, it's very hard to say sometimes.
Tongue twister.
is not an interactive attraction like Luigi's Flying Tires was. The Flying Tires, you actually could make the cars move yourself. Here, it's more, you get into the car. There are 20 cars, although I think maybe 18 are actually out there at the same time, something like that.
I find it interesting when you get in your car, before it starts, they tell you who you're riding with.
Right. Each one of these cars has its own name and its own features. Like each one is different, and the ones that are the same color have like different eye colors. So I just found that very interesting. And they each have like a signature move, so your ride will almost never be exactly the same unless you're like riding it over and over and over again.
It's more like a dance, actually. It seems like, at one point you sort of do a synchronized dance move, and then in every different one of these, I guess you could say, programs, at the very end, the cars all spin around at the same time, and some people put their arms in the air.
Yes, we didn't do that. I didn't do that. But they're Luigi's cousins. So you're dancing with Luigi's cousins.
And it's a trackless ride, very similar to Ratatouille at Disneyland Paris and other trackless rides.
Well, and it's the only trackless Disney ride in the United States so far. And the songs include Mambo Italiano. I believe they have about 5 songs. So again, you have signature moves, you have different songs. So whenever you go on, it could be a little different. I didn't notice a lot of differences. Like we rode several times, and to me it was all kind of it felt the same.
We actually did all the songs, by the way.
Oh, did we?
Because I have recordings of all the songs.
That's very interesting. Yeah. Names include Carlo and Gina. So I don't remember who my car was.
I think that's what we had. I think they would always say, "Okay, you're in Carlo today,"
yes.
or "You'll be they'll say you'll be dancing with." So that added a little fun. Here goes that spin move I talked about. Anyway, my thought, I personally like this version better. I know you like the old one better.
I like the old one better because you actually are physically making that vehicle move. But this was very cute as
I
well.
always had trouble making the other one move. I'd get stuck in one spot. So this one, I never have to worry. It always moves, and it moves better than if I was controlling it. Anyway, we're going to move to Hollywood Land. And one thing I noticed about Hollywood Land is they seem to have a lot of characters there.
They do have a lot of characters, and they have like Disney Junior characters. They have
Nick and Judy from
yes.
Zootopia. And I tell you, Walt Disney World would be ecstatic to have these guys visit.
But yet the lines in California are much shorter for a lot of the characters, including Nick and Judy.
Right.
Like here, they would be
It would
very
be pandemonium.
busy.
And in California, what did we wait? 10 minutes?
We probably waited, about 10 minutes. And I think just because so many of the guests are there like every week, sometimes every day, every month. And, here we have a lot more
It's
tourists.
not as big of a deal. Meeting characters is much more relaxed. Personally, I find it more fun in California.
The
at Disneyland.
princesses are always busy. Not always as much outside, but like the Princess Hall is often busy.
They were quite excited to meet us when we said we were from Orlando, though. She was holding my hand, Judy was, and it was just very, very fun. They really made us feel special when we met them.
It was, it was really a lot of fun. And also, if you see both of them here, just meet both because, like, the next day it was only Nick. Sometimes you don't have both of them at the same time.
Right. So there's no guarantee you'll get them both together, but I think most of the time they would be together.
Hopefully. I have no idea. We only went to the park a couple days.
Right. And this was the
Disney
Visa. Why don't you tell us about that?
Now, for several hours per day, if you have a Disney Visa, you can meet a character, and we were told it isn't always Daisy. It used to only be like a half-hour Chip and Dale, and that was a few years ago. But now, I don't know if like Minnie Mouse might be here.
Minnie was also meeting because we saw Minnie's entrance at one point.
Oh, I
at least
forgot
when I
about
went back later.
And they give you a free photo, so they give you a PhotoPass card, and then you get a code to get your free Disney Visa.
Now, last year when we were there, the Marvel characters were meeting in Disneyland itself upstairs at the, what was it called? The Marvel...
Superhero headquarters.
Oh, yeah, Superhero HQ. I remember the big HQ
Yes.
on the walls up
But I'm
there.
sure that meant headquarters.
Of course, and there is the Captain America himself, and Spider-Man.
Well, I did not meet them. Jeff went to meet them, and I went to go get a gelatoni phone case that a friend had brought.
Priorities.
Yes.
Very important.
But the superhero headquarters had closed April 2nd in Disneyland, and then Captain America and Spider-Man moved over to Hollywood Land. You're going to have, the whole Marvel Land here at some point.
What was different about this, though, is you are getting them together, which is sort of like the new Captain America movie that was out. So it was really nice to see Captain America kind of reference. I asked the captain about how Spider-Man is working in the crime fighting and all that. So I had a little fun interaction. And of course, Spider-Man, I always enjoy meeting Spider-Man. He claimed he remembered me
I'm
from
sure.
meeting him all around the world. So he was very convincing anyway. I don't know if he really remembered me.
It is interesting to me. I don't think of Spider-Man as a character you would meet at Walt Disney World, or even we met him at Disneyland Paris, so it's interesting.
So by far, the biggest new addition since last year is the Frozen Live at the Hyperion show.
And we booked a fast pass for it. We got there in the morning. I don't want to say booked a fast pass because it's different than Walt Disney World. You get there first thing in the morning. You go straight for
yes,
Frozen.
They all tell you go straight to the theater and get your fast pass.
And it's actually it's a terrific show, so it's worth doing that. It will not take up one of your other fast passes. Like you can still go to Radiator Springs Racers and get your fast pass.
And you're seeing some of the great effects. We saw the show twice, and we saw it from two different locations, down low on the orchestra section and also in the mezzanine, which had a very nice view as well.
Now the show is an hour. It is a commitment because you want to get there at least like a half hour early.
You have, according to the fast pass, yeah, it says you have to. If you don't get there on the allotted time, you may not get in.
And whatever that time is, like I think we showed up 20 minutes early. One time it was fine,
Mm-hmm.
but earlier is probably just a little bit better. But it is a lot of time. It's a good chunk of day, but it is totally worth it, at least in my opinion.
Absolutely. It's, I would say, a 90-minute commitment, but as you said, totally worth it. Here we go. It is Anna there talking to Elsa, little Anna and little Elsa, and you'll see the actors will change as the scenes progress.
Well, there's 6 musical numbers. I actually thought maybe there were more. And everything is sung live, which is really, a lot of times shows at the Walt Disney World parks might have just like a couple of live singers, where this said it was like all live, and I thought that was very impressive.
I agree. I prefer live performances.
Now, the one thing about live performances, there are some technical glitches. Like sometimes a show won't go on, and during one of the shows we saw, it stopped maybe in the middle for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was at the door scene that we were looking at earlier, and they had to reset it. So it was about a 10-minute thing. They made an announcement, and apparently this happens. You know, this show is still kind of ironing out its issues.
Well, it's a couple of months old now, and maybe in the next few months they'll really try to get everything ironed out. But it's sort of like here, the Frozen ride, Frozen Ever After at Epcot also has a lot of technical issues.
Still might be.
I think, with all the lighting, I think they're trying new things, and it just sometimes that's what happens.
And here is Elsa's big number, the big Let It Go number, which is quite impressive from the lower or the upper seating.
And this seems to be one of the most popular numbers, not just because of the music, but also when she comes up here, there is going to be, I don't think you show exactly the costume change.
Right, because you couldn't really see it because she has such a bright light on her, but right there she is wearing a sort of the coronation dress.
Right, it's like a full outfit, but in like a second's time, she ends up in her blue dress, which is, the way they do it is really incredible.
And then she'll let
impressive.
her hair down, and it's not fully braided yet, so it's actually human.
Right. Human?
Yeah, you're used to seeing her do it animated, and this is an actual human character do it. There's no magical way to have the long hair just become braided, so you don't see it braided until the next scene.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
If you get what I'm saying.
Sort of, yes. And anyway, the staircase, I thought that was really a fun effect. Mm-hmm. And here we have, what you'll notice here is Sven has a human inside him, like
as
also
Olaf
does,
too.
yes. So they're more like almost like puppets, big puppets,
like the Lion King on Broadway in some ways,
or Finding Nemo
exactly.
at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Sorry, and there you have Anna and Kristoff in the air, and this is also, everything is done just really, really in a fun way.
Right, I thoroughly enjoyed some of these numbers.
Olaf, to me, that was probably the best part of it. He was just so great with the character.
And it really depends. I mean, we saw 2 different performers doing the Olaf number, and I preferred the second one.
Did we see 2?
Absolutely.
I just know that the second time we saw it, I just thought he was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And here you have the In Summer scene.
In Summer.
And you have Sven over there, and then you have all the trolls. He's a bit of a fixer-upper. I'm not a fan of the whole trolls. Like, to me, it slows down the movie. But because they're only here for a little bit of time, it's not too bad. It's actually a great number here.
And they do a great job of mixing the projections and the puppets and the live performers. You really feel like you're surrounded by these trolls.
And I know we've had comments before. The casting is a diverse one, and based on talent more than, what the animated film looks like. So I'm just saying that because I know we're going to get a comment about it. I thought the casting actually was very good. They're great singers and
tremendously. Everybody that we saw in both of our show were highly talented. So again, for us to take time to see this thing twice, 3 hours of our only 2 days, actually 1.5 days at Disney's California Adventure, says a lot. And you originally said, I will see it once, and once is enough. And it must have been really good for you to see it twice.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was nice to see it twice. I just was going to mention also Aladdin ran for 13 years here, so it'll be interesting to see how long Frozen is here. But it's a fantastic show, and go see it if you can. So
now we're going to move along to Bugs Land here, and here is Flick. I kind of like how Flick is just wandering around and meeting his fans, and we went on one of our favorite rides, Heimlich's Choo-choo train. My only complaint, I wish it was double the length because it's a lot of fun.
Well, Heimlich is the Bavarian caterpillar from Bug's Life. And this is...
Bavarian. I
like
that.
I had to look that up because I wasn't sure exactly what to say about him. But this is really a fun little attraction. We don't really ride any of the other attractions in Bugs Land.
Well, they're mostly just spinner rides without a story. But this is actually a fun ride where Heimlich tells about eating. He loves to eat, and he talks about all the food, and he likes the watermelon and the apples, and the whole ride is Heimlich talking about how much he loves to eat.
Now, I don't know if this is true, but I think you're kind of almost like shrunk down to the size. Isn't that what Bugsland
you
is?
are
You're shrunk
caterpillar
down.
size.
So, you're going past the big apples, and you're going through
Giant
the
watermelon
huge watermelon, right? So, and he's eating his way. So it's just such a cute little attraction. It's just a few minutes long. It's worth stopping for, at least in my opinion.
And he, of course, narrates it in his Heimlich way
He's
of
really
talking,
funny.
which very much adds to the fun. He talks about the animal crackers and everything there, and there's a fork in the road, things like that, little funny jokes.
I mean, it's not as much fun for me as like a Casey Jr., but it's something that when we go to Disney California Adventure, I always want to ride it at least once.
I hope with the changes to certain things like the Tower of Terror that we will not have necessarily the Pixar area here, the Bugs Land, go away. I know there will probably be a Marvel presence with the new tower, so let's hope they keep at least Heimlich.
There's going to be a big Marvel presence, I guess, at some point. But I don't know what will happen eventually with Bugs Land. So I guess we'll see. I mean, Disney probably knows kind of what they're going to do, but I do not.
Candy corn. So now, speaking of the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, we are about to have our very last ride on the Hollywood Tower Hotel
unless
ride.
we went back for Christmas, and then we could have another last ride.
Paper fast passes, a thing of beauty.
I
love
actually
them.
like that. I mean, both ways are good ways. So
they both, that's true.
They're
They both
both
have their
different.
advantages and disadvantages. And here we are going into the Hollywood Tower Hotel for maybe the last time for us. Hopefully not.
now the DCA version opened in 2004, so we're looking at about 12 years now. And very soon it will be Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. We did talk about that a couple of shows ago.
Now, we did get a little bit of good news today from Mr. Joe Rohde himself, who had said online that there are no plans to change any of the other Tower of Terrors. It would just be this one at Disneyland.
Now that doesn't mean it won't happen. It could be like such
Are you not trusting in Joe?
It could no. It could be such a success. I mean, okay, at the time he
could,
wrote
that's
this,
true.
it was 3 weeks ago. So like today, they could change their minds.
And didn't Mr. Rohde also say that it was not temporary, but it was a permanent?
Right. I mean, okay, nothing is permanent, but
Yes,
true.
true.
It's not considered a temporary overlay, is what Joe Rohde said online. So if you go into the Disney Parks blog, you can see where he actually answered quite a few questions. He also said it would be a comically high energy rocking new adventure. And then it also will anchor a broader, a Marvel Land. I mean, that will be the anchor for Marvel Land, essentially, whatever they call it.
All I know is when that Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out, you loved Groot.
You know what? I do like Groot. I did like Groot.
You
But
did.
that was really the only character.
And the raccoon. I think you liked the raccoon.
I think I found him a little annoying, actually.
You did?
Yeah, I think so. But not Groot. Groot was really cute. But we do like the Twilight Zone. So.
Yes, it was very nice to see it one last time, perhaps, and to say our proper goodbye. So I do appreciate it's nice to know in advance when something is going away.
Right, and this is supposed to close in early 2017 to reopen in summer 2017. It'd be nice if we can maybe ride it again at some point, but ours is really...
We have the better one, to be quite honest.
Ours is a really good one.
So as long as ours doesn't change, then I guess I'm okay. And here are some nighttime scenes of Buena Vista Street. We did do the rest of the park, but we're just concentrating on what is new since we were there last year. We do have another show from last year of the 60th Disney California Adventure.
Well, we did California Screamin' and the new Soarin'.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the new Soarin' has a different ending. That's true. It has the California ending, but I won't give away exactly what that is.
So, and we took in some entertainment. I mean, it's a terrific park. Sometimes this is the first park we end up going to when we go on our trips now, and we had a great time.
Here we are high atop the Grand Legacy at the 5th, and this is the World of Color. We didn't actually see the World of Color itself from inside the park, but we saw it a number of times from the Grand Legacy.
Which was one of my favorite places to be, was high
It is
atop.
the place to be, absolutely.
So we were just going to talk a tiny bit about our hotel again. This is the Grand Legacy pool area. They had just remodeled this. Now the Grand Legacy is almost right across from Disneyland. It was about we said about a 5-minute walk.
Right.
And our hotel was it's like a motel style. Although if you stay in the main building, which is new, then you have the suites and such. But I thought the pool area was pretty nice. and they have a jacuzzi as well, for being a motel style hotel, because some of the motels I've stayed at do not have something like this.
Sadly, we did not have a chance to use any of
I
that.
know,
We wanted to.
I kept saying that I was going to go back and, go and use it, but we never did. And we were in room 336. We actually usually stay in kind of like a suite, like a mini suite, but this is just a regular room. But it was pretty comfortable. It was I think just general room size.
I did like the fact that you had a larger than usual refrigerator, and I think didn't we have a microwave? Yeah,
yes.
So that was also handy.
So they had what was a little bit bigger than a normal dorm style refrigerator, and I'll be writing up a detailed article. But I think the main challenge was the Wi-Fi, especially on the phone, because we couldn't get it to work in the room. It worked from the lobby,
right,
but not in the room, and I'm hoping they'll kind of fix that issue.
But I really enjoyed my stay there. I would absolutely stay again. I can't get enough when you're that close.
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing how easy things are. We're so used to having to take a shuttle bus, and I love to be able to kind of look out from our room. You could see the Tower of Terror and Space Mountain.
I love that, and fireworks.
Right.
So I could open the door and see fireworks, and also these the Tarraco, is that how you say it? I'm not even sure how you say it, but that was some of the nicest in-room amenities I've actually had. It's good shampoo and conditioner.
Right. And I should mention, we did pay for our stay. We got a discounted rate, but we did pay for everything that we did. And that about wraps up our California coverage. We might have a few little things in the coming shows, but next week, back to Walt Disney World. Princess Elena of Avalor made a big debut, and of course, Blaze Pizza, and a number of other things. Yep. So anyway, thanks very much to our sponsor, MEI Travel, Mouse Fan Travel,
and Maple Leaf Tickets.
Thanks for listening. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.